guess if you want to hear me better. Now, to give you an explanation behind this, my grandfather, Ezra Goodman, this is my great-granddad who this poem's about. He used to tell this story all the time when my dad was a kid. Now, my granddad was about 5'7". Okay? You can't picture that, can you? Because when he stops back here. In all the pictures I've ever seen of my grandfather, he's got just stock white hair. And he's got a big, bushy white mustache up front. My grandmother said the whole time she was growing up, she never remembered him ever getting mad at her or her siblings or any of the grandkids ever. So my grandfather's a pretty interesting character. He ran a sawmill for a while, and they ran 10,000 board feet a day, 6 days a week out of that sawmill. For the area that it was in, that is impressive. And even at that time frame in the late 1800s, early 1900s, not many sawmills could actually run that much. So he did a pretty good job on it. I'm going to set this right here and just give this a twist so I can see it a little bit better. Seems there was this cowboy, a right handsome young lad. I reckon he got his good looks from his mom and his dad. His name was Ezra Goodman, and out he rode one day, looking for cow critters that had gone astray. Now Ezra took to singing to the mountain flowers. He sang as he rode along to pass away the hours. Soon his voice grew silent, his songs was all used up. Now Ezra, he's a figure, his life is in a rut. He rode on through the pine trees and comes upon a glen, and what he saw transpiring made him fairly green. For there was in the grassy meadow, was this is what he spied, an old black bear, a sunning, a warming his backside. Well, Ezra says to his horse, I might as well have some fun. So he shakes him out of loop, and he took her on the run. Well, Ezra, the old black bear was half asleep and far from any trees, and Ezra's loop fell over his head, as pretty as you please. Well, the old black bear bellered and put up quite a fight, and Ezra tied his rope down too fast. That wasn't none too bright. Well, Ezra and his horse, they took off pretty fast and drove that poor old bear a-bouncing through the grass. Well, the old bear wasn't obliged, and it wasn't having none. It seems it dug all four in and ended Ezra's fun. With some pawing and scratching, and got his claws entwined, and paw over paw, he come up Ezra's line. Now, Ezra, he's a figure, and it's time to cut and run. And when he's just accustomed to the full thing that he done. But when he reaches for his knife, he finds it was long gone. And undoing that knot, he knowed it'd taken way too long. Well, Ezra left his saddle, a-stirring quite a breeze. Hit the ground a-running, and heading for the trees. Left behind his faithful mount to be the bear's main course, was making for the woods, feeling no remorse. Then Ezra heard the pounded hooves of his faithful friend, but when he turned around to look, he knowed it was the end. For there upon the saddle, the bear was riding high. With a cocky smirk, acting mighty sly, that bear was swinging Ezra's rope in a nice round ring. Young Ezra, he's in trouble if the bear can make the fling. Ezra climbed the first pine tree and only was in time. 'Twas a branch down below him that stopped his old gut line. Now the horse and that bear, they circled round and round, looking for a way to knock poor Ezra down. Now after a good long spell, they laughed and was gone, and left poor old Ezra perched up high, a-pondering what went wrong. Now you may think it's funny, old Ezra sitting on a branch, but poor old Ezra had to walk 12 miles to the ranch. Now this moral to the story, I guess you could say, is when you see an old black bear,